So last night I was here at this place at Expo Guadalajara, and we were filming some stuff, and I just remember I was hearing these words that caught my ear. So I started to listen closely to this guy. His name is Chance Barnett, and he was talking about entrepreneurship and all that. So it caught my attention because he was talking about that his company crowdfunding helps like young people that want to be successful and that have their projects, just starting up. So I thought it was a good idea to interview Chance and see what he has to offer, what he can help with his words. So we didn't have much time, but it doesn't matter. So here's the interview that I had with him, or a conversation. I don't like the word interview, but so this is what happened. We're at campus party, and I'm here with Chance. We're gonna talk about success and how to get there, and Chance is a great example for it. So I was listening to your conference last night, and I was what I got from it was like the mindset. I've noticed that so many people that are successful is because of their mindset and how they handle failure. And I asked you last night about that. So what's the mindset that you must have to have success in life in any area? Like, what's your answer to that?
I mean, I think there's a lot of different mindsets that can lead to success, but I think there's common traits among them. One of the most important is really perseverance. So everyone generally that you see who looks like a huge success, with a few very rare exceptions, spent a ton of time working and feeling like a failure and failing along the way before they got there. So our company Crowdfunder, it's taken 4 years for people to suddenly think we're like this huge hit, but that was a really difficult, hard 4 years, and this isn't my first time doing it. The first time I ever did it, I didn't know a lot. What helped me find success was really the idea that I wouldn't quit. And as I invest in entrepreneurs, that's one thing that I look for, is that they're not dissuaded by certain types of failure. But on the other hand, they also are adaptable. So they learn from what's happening, and they take input and they take feedback from those things, even if it's criticism, even if it's pain that comes from certain types of failures, and then they actually really make a change to the way that they think and go about life. So it's one thing to fail, it's another thing to fail and then really change your behavior and your thinking because of it, which first I think can be a hard thing to do, to be truly adaptable that way. So that's the other thing that I think is really valuable as an entrepreneur, is to be adaptable, to understand and change your thinking in a very short amount of time, but then to hold strong and be steady about that way of thinking. It's actually fairly complex idea to think you have to be really firm, but then you also have to be adaptable.
Cool. And so you have to be adaptable. And for example, the stage presence or the presence that you have, like from the very first moment when you're doing business, like the handshake, everything, like that attitude. What's that attitude that people like you have that just, that lets everyone know that you're here? That's something that I look for too. And so what do you think about that?
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to interact. Like, people are liked for different reasons. Like, some people are strong, and so you admire that about them. But some people are like really curious and open to the world, and that can be a really great thing about entrepreneurs. And some people are really awkward and weird, and somehow that can be charming on some entrepreneurs, especially if they're a genius in some field. So I think there's a lot of ways to carry yourself and be successful. I think what starts to happen when you have a mindset of success is you just start to invest less time in stuff that isn't really about your true goals and your purpose, which forces a lot of stuff to fall away, which means that you don't spend time doing stupid stuff. Thus, there's only one way to carry yourself when you're focused on your goals and passion all the time. And I think people see that when you're truly committed. There's also this idea of not just how you carry yourself, but the idea of flow. So the more I work at something, the more momentum generally comes to me. And the more momentum I have, the more momentum I get. So there's the idea of being in flow, which is a really interesting kind of psychological state. There's a great book about it called Flow, and it's really a state that you achieve when kind of everything else falls away and you just are deeply focused on your passion. That state, I think, people observe and understand, and it's also contagious. So people around you start to feel that, and yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we see like successful people just being successful, and we think that they were born like that, or you know that they just have talent, and so they make everything like it seems so easy, you know, when you see them. But it's like a habit. It's day by day until you get to your goal or to success, whatever that success is for you. So many people cannot handle like the process. They just want the results now. So that's, I guess, a key for success. Just keep going and be sure about what you have to do or what you want to do. So how someone that's starting, you know, any project can adapt to the process and not be too desperate and all that. So what's your advisor?
I think you're absolutely right. So success is a practice, not something you achieve or obtain. And then, like, so I think people who are successful do a couple things within that practice. And one of them that really successful people are able to do in that practice is to prioritize. So where you're investing your time creates all the difference about the outcomes that you get in your life. And so it's actually a fairly hard skill to really develop, like which people do you invest your time with, which project within your company or project do you choose to spend the most time on, and then how do you align and focus other people on those priorities and get them to focus their time. So that's one of the big things, understanding and using a practice of prioritization to create success and results. And then also understanding how to do that outside of yourself. So I can work as hard as I want, but if my success is limited to my ability to do stuff and to be smart, I'm not going to get very far. So if I can find a great system and a process for aligning with other people, for prioritizing with them and helping them achieve the things that I'm setting out and align each other, that means I'm going to be that much more powerful. So I think there's a startup myth that it's like this mythical one single person that does everything, and at the very start it is, but you need to find your way out of that as soon as possible. And the more smart people you have believing in you, that you can help them see your vision and then prioritize their time towards what you understand is most important, that's going to create a lot of leverage for you as a leader.
So last question, has to be fast because of time. Do you have any philosophy or any spiritual belief or something that makes you like go stronger? You know, any spiritual belief, any philosophy, any book that you want to share? So
sure, let's see. There's so many. I'll just rattle off a few books. There's just as a practice, this is not at all spiritual, it's the exact opposite, but there's a book called Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. This is a great book that creates a weekly process that's really easy to understand and just try out. It does create this kind of easy weekly rhythm that I think can help lead to success. Me personally, I have kind of an overarching belief that everything I like to do and the reason I work, I look at by seeing how I can create value for other people. So I don't create things just so that I can think that they're great. I create them because I have people in mind, and I have in my mind how it's going to be of value to them. So the example with Crowdfunder is I don't have it because I want a bunch of money. I didn't build it for that because I want a bunch of investment. I built it because I really want to help entrepreneurs. And I've spent now 5 years of my life focused deeply on that one specific thing, and now it goes all the way from who is that person and understanding them psychologically deeply to what are their set of needs, wants, frustrations, what do they not have, what do they have, and every day I'm working towards building more towards that vision of helping that person. So for me, that's a spiritual practice because it's about working on something that ideally is bigger than yourself, and that changes the meaning of work.
Well, it was a very nice conversation, Chance Barnett. So thank you, and I wish you the best. So yeah, bye. So yeah, that was Chance Barnett, and it was a short interview, and so I guess that's it. It was a good conversation, very nice guy, and he's an entrepreneur, so everything's good, and so yeah, goodbye.